Trustee Wright. Are you doing Airbnb or hotel?
Good evening. Today is Tuesday, July 5th, 2022. This is a regular session of the Board of the School Trustees of the School City of East Chicago. The time is now 6:06 p.m. The place, School City of East Chicago Administration Building, 1401 East 144th Street, in East Chicago, Indiana, 46312. And this meeting is also being shown via live stream at www.scec.k12.in.us. This is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation's business and is not to be considered a public community forum. First item on the agenda is the call to order. Ms. Bigham.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Present.
Trustee Gomez?
Present.
Trustee Williams?
Present.
Trustee Smith?
Present.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Present. Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion for approval of the agenda?
Madam President, make a motion to approve the agenda.
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Attorney Harris.
Just wanted to make a comment. The board is aware of this, but for the benefit of the public, there is a new Indiana law that went into effect on July 1st, and it requires public participation in school board meetings. Now, for the benefit of this particular school district, there always has been a public comment section. You'll notice things will be a little bit different, and it will be implementing it this meeting, and there will be time for the public to make comments on each agenda item as we go through the meeting, as well as the public comment section that you're used to at the end of the meeting. So bear with us as we're implementing something new this time. Procedurally, it's a lot different than the routine that we've gotten into, but just wanted you to be aware that you'll see and notice something different this time. If you have any suggestions, regarding the process or any comments, please, after the meeting, just stop us and let us know what you think. Okay, thank you.
I do apologize. So I did ask for the a motion. So prior to, we should have asked if there was any comment from the public in regards to agenda item 3.1. Is there any comment from the audience in regards to agenda item 3.1? Okay, next, we do have a first and second, and now do we have any questions? We do not have any questions, so now we'll move to the roll call. Ms. Bigham.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes, item number 4, consent agenda. If there is a comment from the audience, you could come to the podium and ask your question in regards to the consent agenda. Are there any comments? Is there a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
Madam President, make a motion to approve.
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Are there any questions?
Madam President,
Trustee Gomez.
I brought up some issues regarding the claim docket 4.01. As of today, or this moment, I haven't gotten a response on those. Are those items that we can pull from the agenda until those questions are answered?
I was not here at the last meeting. Can you please let us know exactly what you were discussing?
No, this is a current conversation.
I'm sorry?
This is a current conversation I have with the
Oh.
superintendent.
Can you let us know exactly what items you were discussing to pull?
Yes.
I think so. Did he previously ask you about
It
that?
would be check numbers 3273DD.
3273 DD, and this is on page what?
2 or 3, I don't know. The other one is 110795.
On what page?
I'm sorry, I don't have the page in front of me.
327DD. You said page 5, I think. Page 5.
The next one is 110817.
So with item 327DD, we've discussed this numerous of times. Previously, there was a situation where we ended up rifting in 2017, over 20 employees, and the individual who was rifted was actually brought back because of the fact that no one else knew his job. Unfortunately, he retired. With that being said, we couldn't hire him back on as an employee, meaning we ended up having to contract him out. We've discussed this in our board meetings, since you've been back, probably about 5 times. And again, I don't think that that position has been filled. We currently have a swim team. We currently have gym, and in the curriculum for gym, you have to have swimming. With that being said, I think those are all the questions that you asked at the last meeting.
I asked the questions of the superintendent.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Superintendent.
I think the question was there a need to have this person? Am I correct?
Yes.
And then, as our board president stated, yes, we do have a curriculum at the high school. We have 2 pools that are opened, Block and Central High School, and they do have to be maintained. They have water, and therefore we have to be in compliance by cleaning those pools and keeping them up to date. So if I'm correct, this person had been doing it for 10 years, he retired, and he's back and he's doing the same job, basically.
Next one is item 110795.
Mr. Gomez, I think we spoke earlier, and was that the one about the
Tolls.
the toll?
Yeah.
Yes, we researched that a little bit, and we found out that a bus driver actually went through the toll without paying, and we're going to make sure that it did happen more than once, that we talked to the transportation director and let her know that this is something to not continue. So that will be taken care of.
What is the purpose of using a toll when they can go down Indianapolis Boulevard?
I didn't hear the question.
I was wondering what the purpose of using a toll would be when
Yeah.
vehicles can
Well,
travel down Indianapolis Boulevard.
You're right, he was incorrect. He didn't need to use a toll, so we're going to let them know when it's short trips like that, they don't need to take the toll road. And once again, too, you don't go through the tolls without paying them, because I believe it's iPass takes the picture of your license plates, and they're going to contact the district, and we're going to have to pay those. So the most important thing is notify those employees that they're doing the wrong thing, and make sure we put a stop to it as soon as possible.
Thank you. 110817.
Yeah, I believe you had a concern on that, and that was on reimbursement for a seminar. And actually, that person went to 2 different seminars. They went to one on April 14th and one on June 15th, and the total for both of those seminars was $376.74. So that was how that was accumulated.
Could I get information on both of those seminars, please? The next one is 110832.
Yes, I believe you spoke to me also about that, and we were trying to clarify why that money was spent. But that was actually the last day of summer school for our students. And I believe that our interim superintendent went out and purchased treats for the students for their last day as a reward. So that's how that item came to be. It was basically, I believe she bought donuts for the kids on their last day of summer school.
I've asked this before. The line items oftentimes don't give you the full picture, and I wouldn't be wasting my time and yours to ask these questions if we had more detail. I don't think that's a lot to ask for. So if you could direct the CFO to provide more information in the description column. I think that'd be beneficial for everyone on the board. Thank you.
I do want to say, trustee Gomez, just to add context to the tolls, from experience, I know when we've gone to, as coaches, we've gone on the buses, and there's times where we have to pay for tolls, and either the bus driver wouldn't pay for them, and if we don't, because they're not obligated to, and if the coaches don't have the money for it, then, that's probably why you end up getting the money back. So even with, I'm assuming when you're going to, like the zoo, because a lot of the field trips went to the zoo recently, that's probably what it is. The teachers didn't have the money, and then you could just go through and they probably charged us. So that's probably where the tolls came from, but just wanted to add some context to that. And when it comes to the prizes afterwards, Dr. Brager, I don't think you know, but Dr. Finley did give out prizes to the over 1,000 kids who participated in our summer school. Also, there was Deep River tickets that were given to every student who ended up having perfect attendance or close to perfect attendance. So that might add some context to those items. But are there any more questions, or are you still wanting to remove these items, trustee?
No, I'm okay with it, but just as a point of reference, school is still in session on those dates. And these were, I looked up on the calendar, both of these were on Saturdays. I'm sorry, one was on Friday.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
They have a motion, we have a second. Are there any more questions to this? Ms. Bigum, roll call.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes. Item number 5 in old business, 5.01, approval of second reading policy PO 0167.3, public participation. Would you like to go over that, Dr. J, or would you like our attorney to address it?
Yeah, I don't think I have that one.
I can. So basically, this is consistent with kind of the disclaimer I gave at the beginning of the meeting of Indiana's adoption of a new law that requires public participation at our school board meetings. The way you will see that conducted now, as I explained, is there'll be a public comment section on agenda items specifically, and there'll be the traditional public comment section at the end. The law outlines a lot of the disclaimers that I regularly give at every meeting of don't direct your comments to individual board members, be respectful of the audience and the staff that's present. All those things are there. The law allows the board itself to place reasonable restrictions on the public comment portion so that obviously we're not here for 5-6 hours. So that it obviously will be limited to a certain number of minutes. What is before the board right now is the public comment section would be 2 minutes for agenda items to keep the meeting flowing and 3 minutes for the general public comment section at the end. Outside of that, that's basically the sum and substance of it. The board does have the ability to amend this as time goes on. We're just trying to come into compliance with the new law. If it turns out that there may be some difficulty with either the public catching on to the whole process, or it's a little clumsy for the board to navigate, we can consider adjusting it. But for now, I would recommend approval of policy number PO 0167.3.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment on 5.01, approval of second reading policy PO 0167.3, public participation? With that, is there a motion for approval?
Madam President, make a motion to approve.
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Are there any questions?
If I could just make one more comment.
Yes.
If this is approved, we just need to make sure that this is posted, in a prominent position on the website, because there's some detail here that the public should be aware of. So if we can post it somewhere that's really obvious, I think that'd be helpful for the public.
And please just give us some courtesy as we're trying to go through this, because I will forget. Ms. Bigum, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes. Item 4.02, approval of Presence Learning Contract, School Psychology Evaluations. Dr. Abrego, or is it Mrs. Pohl?
Yes, I think I can start with Ms. Pohl. There's many things that we have to do to be in compliance with special education. Sometimes the needs of the students can't be met here in our district, so we have to contract our services out. And that's basically, I believe, the majority of these contracts are for services for psychologists and other items needed to be in compliance with the special education department. Ms. Pohl, is there anything that we need to add?
Just that it was an extension, I'm sorry. Thank you. This is just an extension from last year's contract, carrying over to this coming year.
Thank you. Is there any questions in regards to 5.02, approval of Presence Learning Contract, School Psychology Evaluation? There's no questions?
You mean public comment for that, right? Those are the questions you're asking for?
Yes, public comment questions. If there's none, then is there a motion for approval of 5.02?
Madam President, I make a motion for approval.
Trustee Smith makes the motion for approval.
I'll second that motion.
Trustee Rodriguez seconds the motion. Are there any questions
Madam President?
from the board? Yes, trustee.
Just one question. Did the attorney have the opportunity to look at this contract?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Madam President.
Trustee Williams.
Mrs. Pohl, was this the same thing? I know at our last meeting that we kind of tabled those things because the attorney that was sitting there for Attorney Harris wasn't clear on some of those things?
Yes.
And
These
Attorney
are
Harris?
all,
I know you said you've seen them, but
I've seen it. I know my offices work with Ms. Pohl on the entire agreement. I don't have any specific concerns that haven't already been addressed.
okay.
There's a the most important provision in a lot of these agreements is the termination provision, and it allows us to get out with 30 days' notice. So that's always the biggest concern. If things aren't working out between the parties, how can you get out? Is there a penalty? And there's none of that there, so I'm comfortable with it.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Pohl.
Are there any more questions? Ms. Brigham, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes. Item 5.03, approval of special education contracts, 2022 through 23 school year. Dr. Abrego.
I'm sorry, which one was that?
Approval of special education contracts, 2022 through 2023 school year. Five point three. 5.3.
Yes. Once again, that's still with Ms. Pohl, with special education contracts. And if I'm correct, Ms. Pohl, they have all been sent to our attorney. He's reviewed them, so everything should be in order to move forward.
Is there anyone from the audience that has any questions? I messed that up. With that being said, is there a motion for approval?
Madam President, make a motion to approve.
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Are there any questions from the board?
Yes.
Trustee,
Basically, these are the
Trustee
same
Smith.
contracts that we approve every year.
yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
They just look familiar.
with that being said, there's no, any more questions? Ms. Bigham?
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes. Item 5.04, approval of public consulting, teaching, and coaching playbook agreement. Dr. Abrego.
I'm not sure, is that a continuation of special education, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there anyone from the audience that has any questions in regards to this agreement? Is there a motion for approval?
Madam President, make a motion to approve.
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for approval.
I second that motion.
Trustee Williams seconds the motion. Are there any questions from the board?
Madam President,
Trustee Rodriguez.
just wanted to make sure that the attorney had an opportunity to see this contract as well.
Yes, I did get an opportunity to review it, and you'll notice in the document itself that's in Board Docs, this version actually still has in red the edits that we made to the agreement.
Yeah.
When it's executed, those red lines will be out, they'll all be accepted, but you get the benefit of seeing what we actually added to the agreement. Again, this particular termination provision only requires 10 days' notice in the event this doesn't work out between the parties, but I have reviewed it and I do recommend approval.
Yeah, that's why I addressed it, because I did see it in red, part of it, yep. Thank you.
Any other questions? Ms. Bigum?
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes. We're now into new business, and 6.1, approval of IRS mileage rate for July 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022. Dr. Brego.
Did you say 6.1?
6.1.
Okay,
Excuse me, point of order. I think the call is for the public to comment first.
Nope, it's for him to give some background, and then we call for the public to, if they have any questions regarding that.
okay, I just want to make sure I'm the correct one. You're talking about 6.01?
Yes.
Okay, and basically all that is just the new mileage rate that has been increased, so we get that from the State Department, and whatever it is, we have to abide by that.
Is there anyone from the public that has any questions in regards to, or comment in regards to 6.1? If there's none, is there a motion for approval?
Madam President, make a motion to approve.
Trustee Rodriguez makes the motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Any questions from the board? Ms. Bigum?
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes. Item 6.02, approval of second reading policy P04431, holiday, P00175.1, board conferences, conventions. I would refer to our attorney for both.
Yeah, I'll start with PO 4434. And that is a policy regarding the holidays that'll be recognized as paid holidays for all support staff members. Those holidays, just for the benefit of the public, are New Year's Day, Martin Luther King's birthday, President's Day, Memorial Day. The addition to this list is Juneteenth, June 19th, July 4th, Labor Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Eve Day, Christmas Day, and New Year's Eve Day. I would recommend approval.
You also have item P00175.1, board conference conventions.
Yes. But this is a policy that deals with school board members' travel and attendance at conferences for purposes of learning and training. Basically, the policy encourages board members to attend the conferences and training opportunities at the local, county, state, and national level. Here, what has been added to the policy is that those opportunities should be concentrated on those conferences that are sponsored by the National School Board Association or any of its affiliates. I think for the most part, that's what the school board's doing now, but the policy was silent on that, and that's been included. Outside of that, that's the extent of the modifications to that policy.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the, next time use your microphone. Is there anyone from the public that would like to discuss?
I just have a question about the holiday. Adding Juneteenth is going forward. We're not going retroactively back for that, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Is there a motion for approval of 6.02?
Madam President, make a motion to approve.
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Any questions?
Madam President.
Trustee Gomez.
I brought this up, I believe, numerous times before, where we are approving multiple policies within one motion, and I've asked if we could have these policies separated so the board can address them separately and determine if they're for or against one or the other. This puts, and I'd like to hear Attorney Harris's opinion, the board at somewhat of a disadvantage of it's a either-or situation here, and the board does not have the ability to vote on one and vote against the other when it's listed as a single line item.
You could actually do a secondary motion, and we can have them separated if trustee Smith and Rodriguez removes their motion, and then we could separate them. Am I correct in saying that, Attorney Harris?
Yes, yes, you can do that, and I do recommend with trustee Gomez's recommendation that we separate them out, but that's the solution for tonight, yes, is to do that.
Yes, so would you like to do that tonight, trustee Gomez?
Yep.
Would you like to do a secondary motion, or they could remove their motion, you could do a secondary motion?
It's up to them.
Well, right, no, trustee Rodriguez, is that what you would like to do?
Madam President,
Trustee Rodriguez?
let me, if I can ask Trustee Gomez a question with regards to both policies. Are any of these policies you're opposing?
I have an issue with 0175.1.
And then in that case, I'll recall my motion.
Okay. So trustee Smith, are you recalling your motion also?
Yes.
Trustee Smith and trustee Rodriguez are recalling their motion, and then I'm assuming trustee Gomez, you would like to do a secondary motion to 6.02, correct?
I'll leave that up to my colleagues.
Yes, someone just needs to make a motion.
Madam President, I
one or
make
the
a
other.
motion to itemize both policies in 6.02, possibly reflecting them as 6.02A, PO 0175.1, 6.02B, PO 4434.
So what I would recommend is you can note that for the record, for purposes of the minutes, and right now, the chair would take a motion for approval of one of
One,
those.
okay. So, Ms. Bigham, we're good right now, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Second
So
motion.
there's a motion on the floor a secondary motion saying that there's 6.02, approval of second reading policy PO 4434 as policy A, and then we'll do PL 0175.1 as policy B, and that'll be the board conferences, conventions. So we will do questions and voting on both. So if we have any questions at the moment for policy A, it'd be a time to ask right now from the board. With nothing being said, Ms. Bigham?
So, hold on, just a point of order.
Okay.
Right now, I think the motion that was on the floor was just to separate those out.
Okay.
So that the agenda reads that way with A and B.
Okay.
So the vote now is just to separate them. Then
Okay.
you'll need a public comment portion on A, and then you'll take a vote on that, and then you'll need a public comment on B, and then you'll take a vote on that. So right
Alrighty.
now, it's just to set the agenda to separate them out in A and B.
Okay, so is there any questions to separate them from the board? If there's not, then just, Ms. Bigham,
So long as Ms. Bigham has a motion and a second, for the record, you have that?
I have the first
motion.
motion.
I don't think there's a
is
second.
there a
A
second?
Okay,
second.
there you go.
Is there a second for the motion?
Was there a second? There was no second.
There- no.
Oh, that's what I'm asking. There was a motion, but is there a second for the motion?
Second.
Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Okay, so now we'll do roll call for that.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes. So now we'll have 6.02A, the approval of second reading policy PO 4434, holiday, and that's when I should have asked the audience if anyone has any questions. If there are none, is there a motion, or Is there a motion for approval of 6.2A, approval second reading policy PO 4434, holiday?
I make a motion.
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Are there any questions from the board? With that being said, Ms. Bigum?
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez? Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez on.
Yes. Now we will move to 6.02B, PO 0175.1, Board Conferences and Conventions. Is there a comment from the audience in regards to this policy? With none being heard, is there a motion for approval for this for 602B?
Madam President, make a motion to approve.
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for approval.
I second that motion.
Trustee Williams seconds the motion. Are there any questions?
Madam President,
Trustee Gomez.
on 0175.1, this concludes that and says, well, let me just go to two sentences here. The third sentence reads, each board member is expected to report back to the board after attending a conference at corporation expense. But it concludes with another sentence. It says, the president of the board will regularly receive a record of board member attendance at conferences. I would either ask that we amend this to eliminate that sentence. I'm not sure I see the purpose of that when all board members in previous sentence are expected to have a report back from those attendees at conferences. I don't know if Attorney Harris wants to weigh in on this.
I could weigh in on that, actually. That was a sentence that was previously on this agenda item. And usually when you end up going on a conference, what happens is that you contact your secretary and/or the superintendent, and because the president is liaison between all, that's usually why it's them. But we just basically followed the previous policy with adding just the fact that we would only attend NSBA-sponsored conferences or affiliates. That was the main reason of the change.
Attorney Harris, I would say that sentence 2 does not limit attendance at NSBA.
So I think there's two different issues. I think the one issue regarding NSBA is the event that's being attended must be sponsored by NSBA or any of its affiliates, right? That's one issue. I think the question that you were asking me is the paragraph 3, which says each board member is expected to report back to the board after attending a conference at corporation expense. I think the intent behind that policy, and again, this is a model policy, not something that was developed by the committee itself. I think that the idea is that board member would come back and explain to the rest of the board what they learned or what they gained out of attending that conference. And the last paragraph that deals with the record of attendance would be part of the checks and balances to make sure the board member actually attended the meeting that they registered to attend. So I think it's two different issues. One is substantive early in the policy, and the last one is just a matter of confirming attendance.
And I would contend that since the board votes on attendance at conferences, that the entire board should regularly receive a record of board member attendance at conferences as opposed to just the president.
We don't approve conferences.
We
Trustee Gomez.
We approved the budget.
We don't approve the conferences, though.
We approved the budget.
But that doesn't mean that you approve the conferences. You stated that
Didn't
you
say
approve the
that.
conferences.
If I said that, then I would suggest that it's, or correct it, that it's the conference fees we approve.
Are there any other questions?
Attorney Harris?
Well, I just think it's a matter of preference. I mean, the policy reads the way it reads, right? It's just, it says that the board president will regularly receive that record of attendance. Doesn't necessarily say to the exclusion of the other board members, if that is your point. I'm not sure.
That
if that's-
is, yeah. I would think that all board members should be in the know of what other board members are doing.
the way this policy reads, I don't believe it would exclude any board member from receiving the information. I think we have to make sure, if you're going to adhere to the policy, that the president must receive it, though. The president must pursuant to this policy.
Yeah, I get the language in here. I'm just contending that, to me, that ought to just eliminate, we ought to eliminate. So I'll make the secondary motion to eliminate the president of the board and just say the board will regularly receive a record of board member attendance at conferences.
Is there a second? Is there a second for his motion?
I'm going to second that motion.
There's a second for his motion. We have to ask the public, right? Is there a comment from the public in regards to the secondary motion?
Question. These policies will not be on the board site yet because they're not approved. So how would I, as a individual, know what you're talking about? So have the information to have a comment.
No, so that's a good question, and that's the reason we allow an overview, obviously, as of today, this is new today, but you'll notice that there's an overview of all these items first, so that you do get the benefit of hearing at least what is being discussed and what this conversation is. I think that's a good suggestion that these policies that are going to be the topic of discussion also get published on the website. I think that can happen, but you'll notice that the public's comment comes right after the overview, so that you do get a benefit of hearing the dialogue and back and forth, and then the board gets an opportunity to incorporate any questions or comments that the public might have before they actually vote on it.
And I do.
So I understand the comment. That's a good suggestion.
And to add, I know that during this portion, we're not supposed to go back and forth moving forward, but to add, trustee made a good point previously of, we have this board agenda on our website previously, and when you click on that, you could actually, it should pull it up. And also, when you go to our board page, you could actually go to the policies. So if you see our agenda, you go to the policies and bring up this policy, you're able to go and see it itself. So you'll see the previous one, and if you go on the policies, but if you go to the agenda, when they pull it up, you'll actually be able to see what was redone. So moving forward, that's one of the things we talked about doing, where the community would be able to go onto our website, go onto the agenda, see what's on there. So, because it's technically public record, then when you guys come here, you'll be able to have a comment. Am I correct? Did I put that summary together, trustee Gomez?
I believe so, yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yes.
My comment is this is the second reading.
Yes.
Is there any other questions from the public in regards to this policy? There's a motion and a second, so now we have any questions from the board?
Madam President,
Trustee Rodriguez.
I tend to agree with Trustee Gomez with regards to the last sentence, when it states the president of the board will regularly receive record of the board members' attendance. The only two individuals that I consider as important in receiving conference attendance would be the superintendent or the CFO. I don't see any reason why a board president, unless it's the entire board, then it makes more sense to me, but to have just the board president receiving the record, to me feels isolated.
Thank you. And just to add to your guys' comment, so first and foremost, in the third paragraph, it says each member is expected to report back to the board after attending a conference or corporation. If we did that, then we wouldn't have to have that bottom one where we all would know. I have yet to be part of a board where we have commented, talked with everyone, and went back. I know recently you guys went to a conference in Chicago. You haven't reported back anything that was there. When we make comments about the cube and so forth. So often, sometimes we do make comments or revert some of the items that we have to that. So if it wasn't reported to us, I know they sent it to me about some of the conferences, that I don't think we all would have known. All we had to do is follow number 3, and we all would know in general. I think this school board conference, the reason why we even brought it up solely was so that we could make sure that we attend local, county, and state workshops and conferences that are actually sponsored for NSBA and or its affiliates, because unfortunately, we see a lot of other conferences that the board in general is attending. So we just followed the sponsors, we followed what was already presented to us as the ISBA, so that's why it was there for.
Madam President.
Trustee Williams.
Attorney Harris, do you have any suggestion in regards to that last sentence? Why is it written that way? I was under the impression, and I'm gonna tell you why I wasn't opposed to reporting to the board president, is because the first person I call when I have a question in regards to a board agenda item or a policy is the board president. If the board president don't have the information, then I ask the superintendent or a fellow board member. Is it the word president that's you opposed to, Trustee Gomez or Trustee Rodriguez? Is it the president, or like you said, the only person that you think you should get information should be to is the superintendent and the CFO?
I think,
Is it
Yes.
is it the word president that's there, board president?
that is correct. Every person, every member on this board has one vote, which means that, having to provide records to a board president instead of the entire board is where my concern is. I don't know about Jesse, but I see.
Well, I'll go further, and if you're saying that each board member is expected to report back to the board after attending a conference at corporation expense, I went to a conference there, I reported. I think this policy could be better written, and I think that, having one individual overseeing this, regardless of who that individual is, when the entire board has to vote on the expenditure of attendance at a conference, I think it's a disservice to those. I'm not going to go around asking, each board member which board or which conference did you go to. It should be simply provided and regularly provided information to us, not something that I have to go seek out from someone. So my suggestion was to Trustee Williams, I would just say eliminate president of that and just say the board will regularly receive a record of board member attendance at conferences. This way the president gets it, vice president, secretary, and the other 2 board members get it. We all are on the same page then. I don't think that's a big ask.
So just to answer Trustee Williams' question, the reason it reads that way is just because it came from the ISBA that way. It wasn't drafted that way locally. I do agree with Trustee Gomez's suggestion on a fix. If the group is comfortable with the language reading, that the board will regularly receive it as opposed to the president, that's an option. It's a quick fix if that's the concern.
But Attorney Harris, the reason why I'm not opposed to the word president being there is because when we're going through the superintendent search, it is the president that takes the lead. It takes the lead of the board, is what I'm saying is. So I'm not opposed to being able to report to the president, no matter who sits in this seat, whether it's Vanessa, whether it's anybody else that's on this board that sits in the seat of the presidency. I don't mind reporting to them because that is the lead of our board, right? So I think that's why it was brought from the state that way, because that is the person that leads the board.
I think that is why the state drafted
Okay.
it this way. But I think the argument that Trustee Gomez is making is that because the entire board adopts the budget, which is inclusive of attendance at conferences or payment for registration fees, you all should have access to it. which there isn't necessarily anything wrong with it. That just wasn't the point that ISBA was making when they drafted that sentence. So just kind of a different perspective and a suggestion of how to deal with a separate concern. Just a matter of preference.
So are there any other questions?
And just as a point of reference, the ISBA, this is not written in stone, correct, Attorney Harris? This is something that each board throughout Indiana can modify at their will.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
So are we going to change, are we going to stick with this from the ISBA? Or are we going to, the board will regularly receive a record of board members' attendance at conference? Or are we going to eliminate the president?
So right now, on the motion on the floor is that, the secondary motion is to eliminate the last line. That's the secondary motion. So what we'll vote for right now is if you would like to remove that last line.
It's not necessarily point of order, it's not necessarily to remove the last line, just to remove president of the. So I would be okay with the board will regularly receive a record of board member attendance at conferences. This way, we're all on the same page at the same time.
Okay, so it's the board will regularly receive the record. So that's what the motion on the floor is at the moment. Are there any more questions?
Madam President, just to reflect the record on the policy as 175.1, I can't even find it on our policy on the website.
It's on there.
It's in the drafts
Yeah,
tab.
that's probably why you can't see it at this point in time.
So this is a new policy then?
No, it's in the drafts. It was actually, the last time it was updated was in 2007. But because we're working on it, we're modifying it, you'll find it in your drafts
Gotcha.
on board docs. So, any more other questions? Ms. Bigham, can we please have a roll call for the secondary motion to eliminate the board president and just put the board will regularly receive a record of board member attendance at the conference?
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
No.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange?
No. The next item on the agenda,
Madam President,
Trustee Gomez.
we have to approve this in its final form.
It just was
Oh,
the
remove it.
president, so now we got to vote on the actual.
So, okay. Is there a motion to approve item number B with the amendment to the second, to the motion? Right, so 602B with the amendment
The policy as amended.
as, okay, policy is amended. Is there a comment from the audience? No? Is there a motion for approval?
Madam President, I move for approval of the amended policy 0175.1.
Second?
Trustee Gomez makes the motion. Trustee Rodriguez seconds the motion. Are there any questions from the board? Ms. Bigham, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange?
No. Item 6.04, approval of intergovernmental agreement between Vail Unified School District for the Beyond Textbook Program. Dr. Brigham.
Okay, thank you, Board President. The superintendent and the district is asking for a Beyond Textbooks partnership, and for the audience, Vail Unified School District is the #1 performing district in the state of Colorado. We're asking to enter a partnership with them and bring their Beyond Textbook curriculum framework to the school city of Chicago and to partner with us. The partnership would entail them helping us with pacing calendar for our standards at every grade level. They would also provide professional development for our board, for our administrators, and for all our staff. The standards that they primarily concentrate on are English and math standards because that's what the state grades on, but they also provide assistance in social studies and science. Along with the standards, they do have common formative assessments that they will provide for the district, again, for all grade levels. And the most important thing is to implement this curriculum framework with fidelity. I can tell you that I've implemented this curriculum framework in 3 of the prior districts I've worked in. In one district, it was called Morenci Unified School District. Our high school was rated a D. It went from a D to a B to an A in 2 years. The elementary went from a B to an A in 2 years. And the entire district was rated an A in 2 years. And the most important factor is that 90% of our students were passing the state test. So it's a partnership that I hope, or we hope to bring to the school city of Chicago. I think it'll greatly help our schools because our schools are underperforming a bit right now, and this would greatly help us. And then the other component with this is I think it would really be beneficial to our parents because right now we're asking our parents, or our parents want to be more involved. So if they're more involved with this, would allow them to do that because they would know exactly what their children are learning at every grade level. And then if their children aren't doing well, they would know by the assessments. And it is my hope that they could provide assistance at home to reinforce what the teachers are doing. So it's a very good partnership, and I hope that I've given you enough information to all our board members. And if you feel I have not, I mean, I'm more than welcome to either put it to the vote today, or if you feel that we need to table it and I need to get you more information, I'm willing to do that for you also because it is a very big step for our district, and I want to make sure that everyone is comfortable with this.
Thank you. Is there any comment from the public in regards to approval of intergovernmental agreement between Vail Unified School District for the Beyond Textbook Program?
I see that Indiana is listed, has some districts that are already partnering with them, but just wondering if Dr. Abrego knew who those districts were, and then also what is this going to do to our curriculum mapping that we've already done and spent lots of time on, and how is that going to be incorporated if this is approved?
Sure.
Did you say that it's being used and implemented in Indiana?
It says that it is, yes.
I wasn't aware of that, but I'm glad. But as I said, how would this affect what we're doing now? I believe my elementary director called Vail Unified School District to make sure that the Vail Unified School District would complement what we're doing. And if I'm correct, you did basically a curriculum mapping. So if Vail is saying that these are the most important standards, I'm sure that what we are doing here is also saying that they are the most important standards and they should be taught in this sequence. So the elementary director said that they would coincide and blend pretty well together. She said that she had professional development days that you were going to do some curriculum mapping, and she said, Dr. Abrego, what if I allow the teachers in the morning to do the curriculum mapping you're doing right now, and we can invite Beyond Textbooks to do it in the afternoon, and they can see the correlation and see how it's going to blend and work together. So that's the plan, but did I answer your question, or was there more?
No, you've answered my question.
Okay, and then I guess the key component is the professional development for everyone. And I don't know if you have the common formative assessments that you have. Theirs is only 5 questions, so it's a very quick. If you don't get mastery 80%, then you have a reteach or enrich block, and I think we have that. We have the professional learning communities, the teachers working together. And then I think they do require an academic coach at each school, but we have a principal at our elementaries, an assistant principal, a dean and an academic coach, so I think we have enough people that we can just label one. And I think the most important thing is just to everyone work together because our district needs some help. And I think if we bring this in, as I said, it's been very successful in all the districts I've worked with. And as I said, they've implemented it in over 100 districts in Arizona and throughout the United States. So I think it would be a good thing for our district, but again, I don't want to force on anyone. I've been speaking with the principals. I think today I spoke with, I consider him a principal, Mr. Dave Tokars. But the only thing he liked about the component, he says, it has hundreds and hundreds of lessons. If a teacher is struggling, maybe teaching algebra, a certain standard, they have 100 districts that they can rely on, and you can get, multiple lessons. And if you have a teacher in our district that has a great lesson, they can post it and share it with 100 other districts. So all we're looking for is frameworks that are going to help our kids improve. And I want to commend the high school because I think the high school, they kept their grade pretty good, so that was a good thing.
Is there a motion for approval of item, I'm sorry, are there any more questions from the audience?
Ratings went from a grade level of a D to an A, if I'm not mistaken.
Can you come, he can't hear you.
Schools went from a grade level to an A, from a D to an A. My question is, the children that you taught, were there any African-American children that you were in your district?
What children were utilized this?
Yes. Were there any African-American children?
Well, one district that we utilized this in, they were all Native Americans. And the Native Americans are, it was 100% poverty. Students lived in homes with no electricity, no water, and only 5% were passing. Within a 2-year period, 70% of the students were passing. That was one district. In Morenci, the one I just spoke of right now, that district is a mining town, and it's probably 50% Hispanic and 50% Caucasian. The last district I worked in Colorado, that district was 98% Hispanic, with 50% of the kids not being able to speak English.
So the question is no then, right? The
sorry?
answer is no, no African-American children then, right?
Well, not the percentage we have.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other questions from the community? Is there a motion for approval of item 6.4?
Madam President,
Trustee Gomez?
I have questions on this as well, so.
Is there a motion?
Be advantageous to table this until our next board meeting. Perhaps we could have a work session where the company comes in and explains a little bit more to us. As important as, it is for us to move our grades forward, I'm going to make a motion to table this to our next meeting.
There is a motion on the floor to table it. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second to table the item. Do I have to ask them again?
No, that's not substantive.
Okay.
But I do have a comment, though.
Okay.
That you called on me. I understand that there's a table on the floor, a motion to table this on the floor just for purposes of the board. There is an additional document or two that were circulated from Beyond Textbooks that I do not believe were included in board docs. So I just want to make sure, Ms. Bigham, if you could make sure that that also gets to the board members, it may address some of the questions. The other thing that I want to make sure is pointed out and possibly elaborated on during the work session is it appears as though that the invoicing for this is purchase order based. So the agreement outlines how certain fees are calculated, but doesn't necessarily outline what that looks like and at what frequency, et cetera. I believe, based upon what I'm reading in the quote, that it's going to be based upon how we as a district use it, and it'd be purchase order based. I think that explanation would help the board members to better understand the economics of it as well.
I think that was going to be my question.
Is there, are there any questions from the board now that we have a table, a first and second to table?
Attorney Harris answered my question because I wasn't comfortable with it because of the cost and, the different.
Yeah, as you read it, it's not necessarily clear if it's a lump sum payment that the district's making or a regular payment monthly or exactly how it reads. I believe it's purchase order based. That's my understanding of it, but that, you need that explanation though, so.
And I thank you guys for, for your clarification. But I must say, I did a good amount of research in regards to this. And like I told Dr. Abrego, it's not that I want to say no to this, but I am concerned with the fact that we're trying to bring on board a program within a week. And everyone's already in the district worked on different items from spring to now. And like I explained to him, if we are going to put this together, how is that going to affect the morale of the district they already did the work, and now we're going to rush everything to make sure that we, get this done, this new program in. That's my biggest concern. And also, I did not see the document that Attorney Harris also said. I also went back to look at the data that is in regards to some of this program and some of the locations that you were at, Dr. Abrego, and while some of those other districts, I did not see the improvement. I looked at the one in Colorado, and I based the improvement and growth off of what we've done here. And I have to say, this past year, one of the main things that Dr. Finley did was had every single school come and let us know how much growth has been done. And fortunately, I've been here a little bit, so I understand what state standard growth as well as growth just in general. And what data shows from that district compared to what data we have in our schools, it shows that we have more growth in our school system than what was shown in this Colorado school. I mean, it might be different. And I did do the demographics also, and I did check, and you are correct. Our demographics compared to any school district are not at all the same. So it might be different here. While I hope that parents are interested in supporting this from previous, years, I can't say that that is really what's happening here in our school district, unfortunately. I do also have to say, by tabling this, we are pushing this back to July 19th. And once again, we start school in August. We have the Jump Start, and if I'm correct, the 26th of July. These are all things that are very concerning to me in trying to onboard a brand-new program throughout the entire district. And to spend X amount of dollars on the curriculum mapping that we've already done, and now to add this on, I cannot say that this is the best thing. But again, I'm glad we're tabling it so everyone can get the same information. Because like Trustee Gomez always states, when one board member gets the information, we should all have it. Trustee Gomez, I did some research to bring behind it, and if you want these documents, I'll definitely give them to you. But that information about how much it was going to cost us, definitely we didn't all get it, so.
Do you mind if I make a couple of comments? Just for our audience out there, as your new superintendent, there is a state of urgency. I want you to know that. And I didn't want to say it out loud, but I'm going to say it now. All of our elementary schools are rated F. That is not good. Our middle school is rated an F. Our high school has a B rating, and I think that was from the past. The grades are going to be coming out, I believe, this month, so those are not a reflection of my work, but I think you've done some very good things, and I hope that we get out of that category and start moving our schools up. But those are coming out, and I will definitely report to you on where we're at. And then, again, I thank you for tabling it, and I'll try to get you as much information as possible, because this is very important, and I've been on the other side where I know if the state comes in, if we don't improve our schools, they will take over our schools, and then, your superintendent will not have power, the board will not have power, and they make people do things that they don't want. I mean, our teachers, they'll make you work from 8 to whatever, but it's the most important thing is that we all work together and we're all in this to improve our schools. So I look forward to bringing you more information and sharing this information with our staff and with our teachers and our leaders to make sure that we bring in programs that are effective and cost-effective, because this program is $70,000 for everything. If I'm correct, the one you're implementing now was about $300,000 for exactly the same thing. So as a superintendent, I'm supposed to make sure that we are using our money wisely, and that's why I'd like to bring something like this in. But again, it would free up some more money for our kids, and I think would be very beneficial. But at the next board meeting, I'll give you more information, all our board members, so that when you vote, you'll have the information you need.
I'm sorry. I do ask that you also contact our teachers and there was an actual group that came with the curriculum. So there was a committee that came up with it. They ended up, if I recall correctly, there was three companies that they looked at, and then that was the best one. They showed us the data, we actually got it, and I suggest that actually gets done prior to it coming to the board, so that you can have buy-in from the teachers and the principals for this, because I think that's why we showed so much growth, because there was a definite buy-in. So we spent a lot of money, but it's because that's what they wanted.
Good. And I definitely believe in all of us working together, so I will reach out to you.
Trustee Williams, did you have something?
No.
Are there any questions? Ms. Bigum?
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes, to table.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez on.
No. 6.05, approval of curriculum mapping math, NWEA.
Are we voting?
Would you like me to?
We voting to table?
Yes, please.
And again, this is, that was brought to us by our elementary director. I think it's just, it falls in line with everything you're doing with the curriculum mappings. I'm sure using formative assessments, and WEA would just do assessments 3 times per year, summative, and that way we can predict how many of our kids are on pace with the standards. And hopefully, at the end of the school year, we can all let our governing board and our community know that our kids are doing well, and we can predict where our school is going to be at. The most important thing is to elevate our schools. So it's a good program.
Thank you. Is there a comment from the audience?
I believe that NWA is taking the place of the iReady diagnostic, and that's the reason that we need to have something, and so that's why we suggested the NWEA again.
Thank you. Any other? Yes.
So we had it, then I read, now we're going back.
Any other questions? Is there a motion for approval?
Madam President, make a motion to approve.
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for approval.
I second that motion.
Trustee Williams seconds the motion. Are there any questions from the board? Ms. Bigum?
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez on.
Yes. Item 6.06, approval of PCG Indiana MOU. Dr. Brago.
I'm sorry, which item did you say?
6.06, approval of PCG Indiana MOU.
Yes, we've done extensive work on the student handbook. I think it's been reviewed by outside sources, and
6.06. 6.06.
student handbook.
You have the
wrong
agenda item.
6.05.
Oh,
You have 6.05, I have 6.06, and that is the approval. That you have the wrong agenda item.
6.
You have 6?
Approval, it's this one.
the MOU?
Yes.
Okay.
But for some reason, you have a different agenda.
I'm sorry,
Yeah, Ms.
Governing Board
Tammy
President, I somehow I have the
A
wrong
different,
numbers here, so
It's 5.
I'm not quite sure what the PCG stands for, but it's a memorandum of understanding, am I correct?
Ms. Pohl is ready to speak on it.
It's one of yours? Okay. Ms. Pohl, if you would help us, please.
Absolutely. Yes, this is a memorandum of understanding between PCG and our school system. What it is PCG is actually selected by the state as an approved vendor to provide our students with the most significant disabilities services, to assist with self-advocacy, assist with working skills and other skills. They provide a person to come in and help work with our students. And so this is our second year with this company, and as I said, this is a state-approved company that they have appointed to our district. Free to our district, all services.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to comment on item 6.06? With nothing being said, is there a motion for approval?
Madam President, make a motion for approval.
Trustee Smith makes a motion for
second that
approval.
motion.
Trustee Williams seconds the motion. Are there any questions from the board? With no questions, Ms. Bigum, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes, item 6.07, approval of 2022-23 student handbook.
Yes. I'm sorry, and that's when I was explaining earlier that we do have a outside attorney who's been helping us and really helped us get our student handbook in order. He's done a lot of legwork, so right now the handbook is ready to go for the 2023 school year, and it's, like I said, the work is completed.
Is there anything from the audience in regards to 6.07? Is there a motion for approval?
Madam President, make a motion to approve?
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Are there any questions?
Madam President.
Trustee Williams?
I could be wrong, but my question, Dr. Abrego, would be, have we, and I'm looking through the table of contents, I did not go through the entire student handbook, but have we discussed anything in regards to the use of social media in our student handbooks for our parents to have? We run into a lot of problems when things take place in our school that the first thing kids do is they pull out their phone and they record it, or we use social media to getting out a lot of the negative information. So I didn't see that if the use of social media
If I could,
was even addressed.
76.
if I could.
36?
Page 27.
So if you look on page 27, there's some reference to bullying and cyberbullying,
Okay,
and that's where it
it
focuses on
addressed it.
Social media is one of the environments, now it's not just schoolyard, it's also social media, so that's where you'll find it. And
Okay.
bullying even is a defined term under Indiana law too, and that's one of the things that Dr. Abrego was referring to, that we did take a look at it and make sure that those references to certain Indiana code sections for searches and seizures, for example, or bullying, all those things are current citations included in the student handbook.
Okay.
And we work quite a bit with Dr. Finley as well.
Wait, so
on
you
this.
were the attorney? I know you said outside attorney.
And Attorney Snow in my office as well.
Okay,
Yeah, we all,
okay,
it's a
okay.
big project.
I
Yeah,
was
it's a big
wondering if it
project.
was somebody additional to you, that's why.
Within my
I think
office,
I-
though, yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Are there any other questions? Just wanted to point out, just say thank you. There was a whole group, like
Committee.
a committee. And that's one thing that I love to see, that everything that we've been doing to move forward to the upcoming school year, there was committees in order to get this done. And I do hope that we continue that same process of having committees, so we could hear everyone at different levels. And the committee, as a whole came up with this. So thank you for those individuals taking the time out to get this done along with our attorneys. Are there any other questions,
Madam
comments?
President,
Trustee Gomez.
just like to know if this superintendent can answer this. The student handbook, would it be available in Spanish?
I'm not sure we have it, but I'm pretty sure that everything that we do in our district, we have a translator who will translate the handbook for us so that we can have it in more than one language.
Thank you.
Dr. Abrego, just to reference, online, we had it in Spanish at one point. So if we don't have a hard copy, they could always revert to it online in Spanish. Is there any other questions? Ms. Bigum?
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes. Now we would move to superintendent remarks. Dr. Abrego?
Thank you, Madam President. Well, the only thing I want to just say to the audience is thank you very much for welcoming me to the district and for the board for allowing me this opportunity to come back home and hopefully work with everyone and help make East Chicago what we all want it to be, and that's the best city in Indiana, but it's just an honor to come here and work with everyone. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and I really look forward to it.
Thank you. Next, we'll move to trustee remarks. Are there any trustee remarks?
Madam President.
Trustee Gomez.
I don't know that we had approved the use of our facilities for the fireworks this past weekend. And if we hadn't, could we get that on the agenda? I think that's important that we continue a process of getting those approvals prior to the actual activity.
Trustee Gomes, I think I could answer that for you. So we have an MOU with the city of East Chicago, which allows us to be able to use both of our facilities. The reason why you approve it is just because when we need to just let the board know. I have to say, I will make sure that I will get absolutely everything, because if that's the case about the fireworks, then we probably needed to ask about the Rhythm and Soul Fest, where we use the parking lot for what's happening at, there was a festival here at Washington Park. So regardless, we're good. Attorney, am I correct? Because we have an MOU, but it's just best practice to just, and that's not a problem. I'll make sure that happen. I do have a couple comments. First and foremost, we have a new website. Finally, it's up and running. It is user-friendly. Thank you to all those onboarding. I'm sure our technology team has had a big part. I do ask for the community to go on there and, go around and see what you find. Also, if you have not yet, you should probably go register, and you could do that by going to our website or just going to Skyward and doing it there. And I did want to just say thank you to everyone who participated with summer school. It's great to see that we had so many students that participated, and I'm glad that we had fun days for kids. I think that was important too. Hopefully we'll continue that trend and have kids come on. I also wanted to say that we have a new food service that they've announced it, and I think Sylvia Alvarez, who's not here, but she actually posted on Facebook in regards to picking up food at certain locations. So we are once again working with a new service company to give food to the community. So be on the lookout on our Facebook page and our website as to where you could go to that. I did want to also say to Dr. Abrego, welcome. This is a big task. You have a complicated board, complicated district. I'm just going to be really honest, but I think at the end of the day, our true intentions are to do things in the betterment of the school district. And one thing that I did happen, and maybe you could get this information for me, we usually hear about the teacher turnover year after year after year, but I think because we had such a collaborative effort last year, that did not happen this year. I would love to hear the numbers of individuals who left the school district. We did many surveys, and one of the things said, we don't give programs enough time to work, so we don't know if they work or not. That's why I explained to you that a lot of the stuff that I'm coming from is from previous experience. I do ask if you could give us the numbers for the iLearn data. They should have came out July 1st, I think. But I think only you could get that, so just so we, the board, could have that soon. And I know Dr. Finley, her last day is soon, and I do ask just to, if we can, whether it be in a work session or if she would be able to present all of the things that she had, that she was working on, so all the contractors that she had, if we could just have, she could report all that to us so that we could see if we could continue wherever we need to continue with that. Again, I know we had the process when it came to HR. You said you had, Dr. Mr. Rick Smudge. He was a very integral, very important part of how the HR department would work moving forward in regards to, we had to make sure we post and all that. He was figuring that out for us. I would love to see that as a board, so we can make sure that when we're hiring according to what a process should be, something that my trustee to my left probably ask every single time. Are we following the same process over and over again? So I would hope to see that. So I don't know if it's for our next board meeting or work session, but I would like to see Dr. Finley here and kind of giving us that information. That's basically all from me. Anyone else?
Madam President,
Trustee Rodriguez.
I,
Gomez, sorry, Gomez.
I didn't conclude my remarks. I was actually going to bring up the attendance at the NALEO conference that Trustee Rodriguez and I attended. Two sessions that were really interesting were the ESSER Part 1 and Part 2. Trustee Rodriguez asked a really good question at Part 1 of those two sessions. And there was another one that was pretty interesting. It was emergency preparedness and personal safety for elected officials. It was really interesting to hear the conversations about how the public is, now that we've had to change our structure of doing meetings, of, the safety factor for individuals who are in elected positions. I found that interesting as well. Unfortunately, we were in lockdown one afternoon because fortunately we had a chance to see the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, came in to address the crowd. So while we missed those sessions, we did have a chance to hear her speak, and I thought that was really good. If there's more reporting out that's required, I think Trustee Rodriguez or I can help out with that. And finally, I just wanted to go back to a previous comment regarding the public comment portion. I had previously served on the city council. I know Mr. Mobley in the audience had brought this up to my attention. We used to provide the audience with the copies of the ordinances and resolutions, and that's what I wanted to see here. I think it's unfair to ask the public to participate when they have no information to participate with. So I'm hoping that we can get every document that we can provide to you accessible to you, as accessible as they are to us, outside of obviously confidential information. But I'd like to see that we do that sooner than later, so that when you do come, you're aware of what we're talking about while we're up here. That concludes my remarks.
Trustee Rodriguez.
Madam President, just to piggyback off of Trustee Gomez regarding the NALEO conference, this is a conference, it's basically NALEO stands for National Association for Latino Elected Officials. It's an educational fund association, which allows elected officials to not only participate in educational programs throughout the country, but I think the conferences are something that's beyond my expectation. Only the fact is that they have speakers from the U.S. We had an opportunity to meet a U.S. Secretary of Education, Miguel Cardona, and what Jesse mentioned earlier, our 49th Vice President just showed up and just put us all on lockdown just to say a few words. And I want to mention, and I know this individual is our state rep, Earl Harris, but he was actually down there as well. And I think to show representation not only for the state of Indiana, but there were senators as well as congressmen throughout the country that was there. We had, so that was great, and I was going to mention the ESSER funds as well and how important that is, and identifying our timelines and making sure that we get those monies spent in a timely manner, or else we're going to have to give it back. So it was pretty exciting, and it was a great conference to attend. And I tell you what, out of all the conferences I've attended, I've never met so many dignitaries, as well as important individuals that have actually inspired me to continue on with my professional development in a school board. Thank you.
Madam President, if I could add, the question that trustee Rodriguez asked was the expenditure of ESSER monies, do they have to be expended by the deadline date, or can they be, I forget how you phrased it, could they essentially be secured and then encumbered, thank you, is the word you used, encumbered, and then utilized after that date, but prior to the deadline? So I thought that was a good question. Thank you.
Is that all?
Yes.
Okay. Any other trustee remarks? Next, we'll move to public forum.
We have one person.
Right, if you could step to the microphone and state your name, your comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Please be respectful to the board members, the staff, and the other attendees here at the meeting.
Ms. Linda Randolph?
Linda Randolph, 4437 Alder Street. I just wanted to welcome the new superintendent and let you know we'll be praying for you. You've taken on an awesome responsibility. And with God's help and the support of the board and community, staff, and parents in general, we hope that we will start the trend of moving even higher. So thank you, and Godspeed.
Thank you. The next date and time for our public meeting will be July 19th, and that will be at 6 p.m. Wait, I might be wrong. I think that's a Tuesday. Hold on. 18th, July 18th, that's a Monday, and that'll be at 6 p.m. Is there a motion for adjournment?
Madam President, make a motion to adjourn?
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for adjournment.
I'll second.
Trustee Williams seconds the motion. Ms. Bigum?
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez-Orange?
Yes.